It's time to update the hub. A small but crucial part of my ultra-low power sensor system is the hub. The purpose of the hub is to take ESPNow messages coming from my sensors and push them over Wi-Fi to an Mqtt server. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. But if you have been following me, you might recall my original hub, which was composed of two subsystems, the receiver and the gateway. The receiver had one simple job: listen and filter ESPNow messages and send them over serial to the gateway. The gateway, however, was a bit more complicated. It was responsible for multiple things, including parsing and saving the ESPNow messages, maintaining Wi-Fi connection, publishing Mqtt messages, and serving the setup and web portal. Originally, I used two Wemos D1 Mini, one as the receiver and one as the gateway, and sandwiched them together. It was very simple and did the job. However, I felt it needed to be enhanced with more peripherals, like screen, an LED, or a buzzer, and the firmware also needed some more options and a UI makeover. So I added an OLED screen at the top and a buzzer and LED indicator at the bottom, as you can see here. I used the OLED display for many things, including the boot sequence information, like Wi-Fi and Mqtt connection info. I have also used it to display the progress of over-the-air updates. I really like that one. And when the device is idle, it shows the total number of connected sensors and the IP address of the device. And each time the hub gets a new update from a sensor, it displays it. So for example, this is what it shows for a door sensor, and this one for a climate sensor. The OLED was a very useful addition. It is truly versatile. The other addition was the buzzer and the LED. They are used for things that need more urgent attention. This switch on the right hand side can toggle between audible and visual alerts, so I can make it beep or flash. I learned from the first hub that having constant beeping around you is very annoying, so that's why I added that switch for an option for a quiet mode. I added those two mainly to get alerts when the batteries run low. This allows me to replace the batteries when needed. So that was the hardware. Another really major upgrade was the firmware. I almost rebuilt it from the ground up. This started when I had issues fine-tuning the portal library I used. So I wrote my custom code to deploy the setup portal and serve the web pages. You can check out a previous video I made for an intro on that subject. The HTML code also got more structured. I started using frameworks like Bootstrap and jQuery. This used to be the old interface, and now it's more sleek. It's also more responsive and user-friendly, and it looks way better if you ask me. So here on the main page, I get to see all the discovered sensors at a glance. For each sensor, the ID is displayed at the top. This will later be used to identify it. This is basically the MAC address of the sensor. The sensor status is right below it. In case of a switch, it shows open or close, and in the case of a temperature sensor, it displays the temperature and the humidity reading when available. And yes, the temperature sensors are a new addition to the system, and I am currently working on those. Further below is the battery voltage and a small icon reflecting the battery level. And all the way at the bottom, it shows when it was last updated. If I head over to the top right corner of the screen, I can access the device settings page. This is where all the settings can be changed, like the Wi-Fi credentials, Mqtt info, and the temperature unit. This can toggle between Celsius and Fahrenheit. It is worth noting that the sensors themselves send the readings in Celsius, but it is the hub that does the conversion on the fly before displaying them or sending them externally. And on the same page on the right hand side, I also included some instructions for the Mqtt and HTTP integrations. For Mqtt, the sensor updates are published to a unique topic using this format. The sensor ID is the ID I showed earlier, which is created from the sensor's MAC address. The payload is a JSON formatted and it's different depending on the sensor type. So far I have two types, switch and climate. Switch is used for sensors that are either open or closed type, like a door or a motion sensor, and climate is used with the temperature and humidity sensors type. Obviously, with the addition of the climate sensor, I needed to adjust the ESPNow data structure I was using slightly. Before, it only had a Boolean variable for the on-off sensors, but now it has two extra values to be able to handle the climate type. One thing I'm experimenting with is the auto discovery and setup with external systems using Mqtt. For example, in Home Assistant, you can send the attributes of a sensor over Mqtt and it gets added automatically without any setup. I tested it and it's working well, and I might explore this more in the future. Another addition to the firmware is the HTTP integration, which is very similar to Mqtt, except that it needs to be pulled using a URL. Accessing the URL and passing it the sensor ID, it returns a JSON with the sensor details, just like the Mqtt payload. And that pretty much wraps up the new hub. This was very exciting and it has taken me weeks to design, build, test and assemble, and I have made a couple of these if you want to get your hand on one. And what I'm really missing now is a case, but I'm not really good at CAD, so if you are and you would like to contribute, please reach out. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. I love to hear your comments, which you can leave down below, and if you like what I'm doing, leave a thumbs up. See you in the next one. Peace.